If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robyn, on the mic.
Welcome to the Friday edition of Lisa and Robyn on the mic. You are listening on 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, as well as Facebook and YouTube. Welcome, Robyn.
Hello and welcome. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I kind of like being in here in the afternoons, Friday afternoon, like we're going to shut the week down.
I do. I like it too.
Me too. I like it.
I like the angle of the sun is different in here.
Yes.
It's much warmer, even though we still don't have heat.
That's true. Hey, we're at a whopping 62.
I know. That's perfect compared to what it was yesterday.
Yes. Although it wasn't too bad yesterday. So
you had your blanket.
Do you guys have any good plans for the weekend?
One of my family members died. We're going to go to his
wake
memorial, more of a memorial tomorrow. And I think we're going to get some snow tonight, so John may be plowing. They said 1 to 3 inches, and so that we have to put the plow on.
I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that either.
Rain.
I'm trying to ignore it all. I think that's part of the problem. I'm not watching
ignoring
the
it all
news.
too, because I just put out some solar lights. I've got all my pool furniture out, and this morning I'm like, oh, I've got time before we need to go to the studio. So I hit all the haunts to find pillows to go for the sectional couch outside. And I'm like, I'm looking for like blue, teal, just Caribbean colors, because I have navy blue, and then I have teal lounge chair pads for it. And I'm like, I like that. I kind of want to keep the whole same theme. But I also like navy blue and yellow together, too.
I do. I like navy blue and pink and navy blue and orange.
I like navy blue and orange, too. Those are Virginia Cavalier colors, so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wahoos.
Wahoo.
Wahoo wah. Yes.
I guess it was 10 years ago now, I was struggling with finding something to like to read, so I started reading art history, and I went totally down a rabbit hole.
Wow.
Of various artists. And did you know that Monet, I'm actually going to read it. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, here we go. I have to put my glasses on. For 20 years, Monet painted water lilies. As he went blind, the panic of not painting the water lilies correctly, of not accurately capturing the ever-changing light on their beauty, caused him to declare his life a failure. He planned on having his work destroyed upon his death.
Really?
Did you know that?
Wow.
So we have been, now, in addition to, artists are a bit melodramatic.
Yes.
But that he dedicated his whole entire life. And how heartbreaking that someone who painted something so beautifully didn't enjoy his own work.
It's kind of like we are the most critical of ourselves.
We are. And here we are. I have a Monet print in my dining room. That's the one that's...
Yeah.
Because my
mom has the water lilies. She has a huge one of the water lilies.
And what I think is so interesting about that is, what would Monet have been like today with the advent of social media and everyone commenting? If that's how critical he was by himself,
oh gosh,
would we even have anything from Monet? Because would he have stopped painting?
From feedback?
Because could you imagine the comment section of Monet's Instagram? Dude, enough with the water lilies.
Right.
Okay, can you paint something else?
Right.
So sick of this. Enough already.
So I actually there's a couple of his paintings. I have one. It's a woman, and she's kind of on a hill, and it's like a poppy field, a field of poppies. I think that one's beautiful. And he's also got one. I don't know if it was his. It's somebody's kids. I don't know if it was his or somebody's kids, but they're in a garden, and they're like in a little wagon. That's a really pretty one too. So I didn't like the water lilies are good, and most of my art that I'm attracted to usually has some element of water in it.
Me too.
I do.
And flowers. Water and flowers are landscape water and flowers are my favorite.
Yes.
I could just look at that forever. I could paint it forever. I could look at it forever.
Yes.
And I think about, okay, so here's a guy who obviously he was trying to achieve something. So part of his disappointment, I'm sure, was not capturing it the way he wanted to. But he did that without he was criticized by the art community and various things, but it's not like the criticism of, or maybe it was like the criticism of today. Maybe, the three critics who trash your art in some
That's true.
newspaper, maybe that's definitive.
That's true.
Maybe it's even
maybe
worse.
It is that, yeah, because they don't. I don't know if they think about audience reach, or who's touching. Because did they do art galleries? Like, did he display his art, or was it even for sale?
Yes. At the time, there were, because they were, I want to call them the five fab, who we think are fabulous. They were criticized while they were alive. So
Yeah.
they didn't get famous until after they were dead,
Was it?
which was common in art, I think, back in the day.
Yeah, who was it? Picasso that never sold one until after his death, or
Well, I know Van Gogh struggled.
Van Gogh. Yes.
But the whole thing kind of came about of, okay, external validation. How important is it? But more importantly, we live in a world today where when you say you're going to do something, people want to know to what end. If you
Right.
started painting water lilies and putting them online, they would be to what end? Well, I just want to share them, or I just want to paint them. We have this sort of idea that there has to be a point or a purpose to every single thing we do, instead of just the exploration of something to do, I think.
That's true. I was going to say, you mean to what end is like, how long are you going to do this? The duration.
Well, I started a
Instead of just-
podcast in 2016, and I started a real estate podcast before podcasting really took off. I went and recorded it in a music studio and had someone edit it for me. And every week I talked to someone, the expert in a particular field, because real estate touches so much. So I would have, I called it fire, flood, or blood. You have something catastrophic at your apartment. Who do you call? And I invited the person I would call, and we talked about how to put a plan in place. Then I talked about the 1031 exchange and taxes. I talked about lead abatement. I talked about a topic that people always wanted me to tell. They would always have questions about these topics, and they would call me, and I would have to talk for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I was like, how do I give everybody the information that they need without repeating myself a million times?
I love it. I love that idea.
So as I was doing it, everyone kept saying, but to what end? What's the purpose of this? Does this make money? Does this? And it's like, well, I'm trying to alleviate my time. I'm trying to alleviate taking 50 calls in a year about the same exact thing. And that's what I did. I started with the topics I took the most calls about. And I made it.
I think that's a great idea. And then you just send them an email, and it's so you're actually, maximizing and freeing up your time and doing like a training. You could do training videos, or how many,
But at the time, no one was supportive of it. Everybody was like, to what end?
I
What are
know.
you doing this for? Blah, blah, blah. And I ended up dropping it off, I think like 7 months into it.
Oh, really? Do you still have them?
I do still have them. I have them as MP3s.
Huh.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, we should repurpose them.
Oh,
We could
that's a great idea.
repurpose them and put them on our YouTube page, and because nowadays, well, obviously, podcasting's gotten a lot more popular since 2016, and everybody's going to those places. But YouTube's a great place to go, and it's like the new Webster dictionary.
Yes, it is. When we had that conversation with the New Trade people,
I actually think you could get through life without reading now.
I do think so too. You don't have to read anything.
Right.
Even if you wanted to read a book, there's 10 people who summarize the book and interview the author. You can get 50% of what the book's about.
Well, but then there's Audible.
That's true.
So maybe reading is just a dying thing.
It's obsolete.
I love to read, though. I loved a good book in my hand. And I like to write. I don't like to write just to write, but I like to, if I'm doing a grocery list.
You like the tactile
Yes.
pen on paper.
Yes, I do. It also, you commit it to memory. Somebody had said you only use, like, even if you're typing, you use, like, eight neurons. I have to look it up. But neuroreceptors, writing it, you use like 10,000 neuroreceptors.
Well, back in the day, they used to make you say it out loud. So you would read it, say it, and write it. So they were, because everyone learns a little differently. Everyone's brain absorbs differently. So they figured they were touching whichever way you were going to learn the most, whether that was writing or listening or hearing.
Because
or
everybody
seeing.
learns it a different way.
Yes.
I'm definitely more hands-on.
I am too.
I'm a hands-on learner. And that's why I think writing it down helps me commit it to my memory.
So when I do my shopping list, I write it down, and 50% of the time I forget the list,
Yes.
and I get 99% of it done based off of me remembering writing it down.
You're a doppelganger. Chris is like, you always forget your list. Why do you write it down? Take your phone, put it on your phone. And I'm like, I don't like putting it on my phone. And even if I speak it in my notes, I want it to do a list. And then
According to the aisles.
Yes, and then you have to do space, and then you have to go back. And, the first one's always bold, and I don't like that. So you got to skip a line. I'm like, no, I can just write it faster than I can organize
And
it.
I'm remembering most of it. Plus, I also do almost like a grid pattern where produce goes here and we here,
Yes.
So I do it based on where the stuff is in the supermarket, and then based on what I'm making for dinner, then I go see what I need, and then I start populating the grid. Like
Yes.
it's a page, but it's still a grid. It's a grid system. It's very complicated.
I love it. Well, when my kids were younger, and they were eating baby food and rice cereal and all that stuff and their little snacks, I had my grocery list. I did put it on the computer, and I had it by the aisles in Shaw's at in Hillsboro, where we lived at the time. And so if I could print it out, I could hand it to my husband, and he would know exactly where to go, how many aisles over, and I just had boxes, so you could just check it off if you needed it. So I'd print it out at the beginning of the week, and I was on
Organized.
fire. I love that stuff. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to be held to some kind of rigid program on a chore I already hate.
Well, now that I'm a lot closer to grocery stores, I go to different ones for different things.
Well, I'm a brand person, so they don't have this brand at that one. So I'm
Yes.
touching 3 supermarkets every week.
Yes, and here's I'm going to gripe for a minute. Shaw's right now is the only one that has the scorching hot Pringles, the sour cream and onion. Market Basket doesn't have them. Target doesn't have them. Walmart does not have them. And
What about Hannaford?
I haven't checked Hannaford's. I don't have one that's close to me, but I love Hannaford's.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my go-to.
Because you had a Hannaford's close to your other house.
Yes. Well, the one right there in
Mhm.
Bedford, the little one.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times right in their deli, I will get their crispy chicken tenders. And
Very good.
gosh, they have the spicy ones too. And so sometimes it's so easy just to do like a little a crunchy taco. You could make you could just do some slaw, and you put like Cholula, or what's the other one? Not Frank's, but like a spicy thing in it in your slaw, and make it like a spicy slaw. Put a
like
crispy
Tabasco?
chicken. Yes, I was thinking not Pete's.
Frank?
Oh,
that's
well,
the Frank.
sriracha. You
Okay.
could just probably do sriracha. I like the Cholula better.
Do you know what I recently discovered?
What?
Sriracha honey.
Oh.
So you take equal parts honey and sriracha, and you drizzle it over avocado toast
Ooh,
with
that'd
feta
be good.
cheese.
Ooh, that would be really good.
Oh, it's so good.
That sounds good.
That's
I
my
like
newest thing. So now I have a whole container of it because I'm not mixing it as I go now. I like it
love it.
enough
Yes.
that I made my own glass container of it. But try it, sriracha, your favorite sriracha.
Yep.
50-50 with honey. Get a good honey. Don't get honey at the supermarket. I feel like you need to go to
Is it really honey?
I don't know. It's so sugary. That honey is so sugary. Where I go to Amherst Gardens and they sell New Hampshire maple syrup and New Hampshire honey, local grown honey. It's to die for. So I have that. I have those two things. And now I've been drizzling them over avocado
I'm waiting
toast.
for George. If you're listening, George, we're waiting for that delicious syrup.
Yes, I voted for D. I wanted the D syrup.
I said D first.
And then changed.
Well, because it tasted buttery. It
I know,
had
I
a
liked it.
buttery. I loved it, and I was like, that's not his. Can't possibly his. That tastes like Aunt Jemima butter flavor.
Have you had his coffee yet?
No.
The fog lifter?
No, I haven't had the fog lifter yet. And
George.
I'm also waiting for who's the other partner?
Bob.
Bob. I want to say
Bob.
John. And I'm like, that's not it. And I'm like, I want him to bring me some coffee too. I also want to declare I had a thought on the way home. Yesterday we were talking about books
Mhm.
being banned.
Mhm.
And I was thinking about that, how we banned books that have sex content in it for our young adults. But then I was like, oh, well, look, Divergent and Hunger Games. There's a couple of other ones that came out of that whole time period that's young adult. They don't ban violence.
I
Like,
know.
Well, even in cartoons, they're always beating up each other. I mean, look how many times a Roadrunner's been killed. It's got to be in the billions by now.
The coyote. The
Yes.
Roadrunner never
Oh,
dies.
yes, Coyote. Yes.
The coyote dies all of the 5 times an episode.
Wily Coyote. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's probably died a billion times over. But
Right.
Again, it's like it's somebody's opinion.
Well, it's interesting how. So that's a culture thing, and is it pop culture but it's a culture thing to say we ban something over here when it's prolific in every other medium. So for sex, commercials are sexualized, magazines, Instagram, everything has that sexualized component to it. And then there's online, the internet.
Right.
It's just say you're 18. Oh, okay. Oh, no, I'm not really. Did you pack your bags yourself at the airport? No, somebody else packed them.
Can you drive? No.
No.
Can you vote? No.
But I'm going to tell the truth here. No, I'm not going to. No, you're right. I'm not really 18. I'll wait.
But it's true. Like, people, you don't just stop and think about the stuff. And it's like, it's okay that we can expose them to violence and death and all this stuff. But God forbid, don't expose them to sex.
There was something.
How about teach them the right way?
Right. And teach them, how to be good at it.
Yes.
And what the whole point of it is. All right, I'm going to tell the story. So I had a friend's son, and we were comfortable together, right? And so he says something, and then he starts talking about sex, and I'm like, oh no. I'm like, does Auntie Lisa need to hear this? And then he's like, well, I can't talk to my mother about it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You probably can't talk to your mother about it. So then we start talking about it. And then he was getting really into the weeds. And I was like, I don't need to hear this detail. Right. So then I said, you know how to take care of yourself, right? He said, yeah. And I said, okay, your whole entire job is learning how to take care of her, because you'll be all set.
Right.
The minute you need to be like, all right, we're all done, you're all done. Right. You know how to do that. Your job is to figure out. He's like, well, what it is? Well, you got to figure it out. Every girl's a little different.
Yes.
And so I left him with that, and then I'm like, we're too comfortable together. You have to go over there.
Everybody is like a musical instrument, and you need to know to hit the right chords.
Right. Oh my God. I remember watching Sex and the City, and there was an episode where Carrie is having some sex with some guy, and he's doing like the pole vault jump on top of her, and her whole bed's banging, and she's just looking at him, and her head smacking. This is not a good time.
You got to pull it up so everybody can be like, oh, what episode was that? I want to see that.
I'll find it, and I'll put it on Instagram at least before it gets taken down. You'll have to look at it very quickly.
Oh, that's true. Well, you know what? It's funny. TikTok bans some of my stuff if I use the hashtag for you page.
Oh, okay.
And what's funny is
what is the you page?
It's just one of the platforms. It's for you. Like, if you go on TikTok, it says friends, following, and for you.
Okay.
Like, suggested for you. I'm like, it's my bathing suit. Whoever's on the beach with me sees me in my bathing suit, and it's on it's on Facebook and it's on Instagram. But yeah, for some reason, TikTok, and then when TikTok wants to ban me, and it says that it's inappropriate for young children, and I'm like, well, I'm not doing it for young children, and it's something that I would wear it.
Right, children go to the beach.
I don't think it's inappropriate. And I had one. There was a silhouette.
Maybe you
in
look
the
so
words.
good that they're like, we just can't even look at you in it.
Well, I made a meme, and it's just kind of the silhouette, and the words are covering, so there's a hint of curves, but you can't really see anything because it's in the background, and I blurred it a little bit, and immediately it got shut down. So I'm like, I'm not posting anything on TikTok anymore. I'm doing my...
Maybe we'll just do food on TikTok.
Yeah.
I think that's a good
In outfits.
outfits and dance routines. I'm not doing any dance
But
routines.
then I see
maybe.
stuff that's so vulgar and so in your face, and I'm like, how does mine get blocked? Like, it's empowering. I'll find the meme, and because I don't think it's inappropriate.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting how we have these arbitrary. They feel arbitrary. In Hollywood, they wanted to make sure that for decency standards that, there were all of these different rules to keep it into PG or R. And so we based everything off of that, I think, for a little while.
Yes.
But I think books are different. I think
I think books are different too.
because it's your imagination. It's not. Sometimes if you see something, you're like, I'm never going to unsee that.
So here's one I made. It's so if you see,
Okay.
it's Chris is
Yeah.
hugging me,
Mhm.
and you really he's grabbing my bum. But you
Mhm.
can't really see anything else, and it says, "When a man loves a woman, she becomes his weakness, and when a woman truly loves a man, he becomes her strength. This is called an exchange of power." And I just thought that's beautiful because you see feminine and soft, and you see the masculine, and I love the lines of it. I
Mhm.
love
It's
there's a
beautiful.
protection, and it's being soft, and that got banned, and I'm like, all right, TikTok. Chinaman. I didn't say that.
That is a China-owned company, though.
Yes, it is.
Were they going to ban us? I mean, were you going to ban them, or were they banning us? What was going on with TikTok? What
Somebody
the-
was banning somebody, and I didn't follow the news, so.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't. Oh, well, I think the reason why it was being banned was because if you went on TikTok, then they had access to all the information in your phone. Which,
Like, not everybody, everybody has it anyway.
well, if you read, I'm sure any of these terms of agreement, which no one ever reads because they're 7,000 pages long, and it's not like I can change any function of it,
Right.
right? So,
Well, go sign up for FAFSA. Go sign up for
what is FAFSA?
financial aid for
Okay.
students for college and all that stuff. You literally have to put everything in.
Mm.
What so you're putting it into the computer. Somebody's got it. Everybody keeps getting, everybody. You have to put your
Well, I keep getting
tax
these letters.
returns. You've got to put your investments. If you've got a retirement portfolio, your home address, what you owe on your mortgage, like everything.
So I got recently. I got a letter from my health insurance that said we've had a data breach and your information was given. So your social security number, your health information, your blah blah blah, was part of this data breach, and they just sent me a letter. And that's like, okay, well now what?
Well, companies do it because I think it was Blue Cross and Blue Shield that got hacked a while back.
United got hacked too.
And they'll do checks on your.
Okay.
They're supposed to monitor or give you a platform to monitor your stuff.
Okay.
I don't know what that stuff is. Credit.
But your health information, I don't know if that's
I
important.
don't know. It's always out there. It's out there somewhere. I
Yeah.
just, anytime you've ever done anything online. And people sell your mortgages too, don't you think? When they sell their
Yeah.
mortgages to different companies, you don't think they have all that? Do they not have the paperwork?
Right.
Well, everybody's got it.
Everyone's got it. So I will say one quick thing about real estate is as we come into another spring season, everyone starts picking up buying again in the spring and the summer. Even though because there has been so little inventory, really hasn't completely dropped off the other seasons. But be very careful of land scams because
Ooh,
there's just
land scams. Tell
yeah.
us, what's land scams?
So there's just land on the side of the road. People can put up a sign that says call, and they can take money if you don't know what you're doing and you're thinking you're dealing directly with an owner, and you start giving them money to buy a parcel of land that sounds really good, and that person is not the owner of the land.
Wow. It's actually a great idea.
It's a terrible idea.
Can I put a for sale sign on property for sale?
And I will say that they were doing that for rentals. So what was happening was I would put up a rental online, and someone would take my pictures, take all my detail, put their telephone number and a lower dollar amount. And so then what ended up happening was I met this person, and it was an $1,800 townhome in Manchester. I met them there. The only thing is you're getting text. I want to see this place at this time. Who was really testing me was the scammer.
Oh.
Making me meet this person. And they're like, all right, I'll send you the money. And I'm like, send me the money. You don't have any information. I haven't approved you. What are you talking about? And they said, it's $1,200, whatever. I already gave you my credit card information, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, you didn't. So then I went to the police and I gave them the telephone number that was texting me, because I'm like, is this who you're texting? And they're like, yeah. And so the police like, yeah, this happens all the time. Do not send money. It's really prevalent that everyone's looking for a quick way to make a buck.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure you're dealing with reputable people. Make sure that the land that you think you're buying is really owned by the group that you think.
Right.
You know, everything feels really expensive. So, okay, don't get a lawyer. We'll use my guy. Don't do this.
Right.
Don't do any of that.
Don't cheap out.
Don't cheap out on that kind of stuff, because you could lose lots of money and not own anything at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it actually became, it's the head of the leading article in the New Hampshire Realtor magazine this month is fraudulent schemes targeting vacant land are more prevalent now than they've ever been.
Gosh, that's so scary.
It is scary.
It is. It's a crazy world that we live in. And people are just, somebody had said the other day that people are spending a lot of time like gambling online.
I was telling you that they were actually, a lawyer was telling me that people are actually losing their homes over it.
Really?
It was a Massachusetts lawyer.
Like what kind of gambling online? Like the
You can
games
bet-
like
so the-
solitaire that says
No.
you can get your cash or...
So because of computers, they can monetize every single thing about a football game. The throw, how many yards is he going to throw? I bet under 50, over 50. You can bet on that.
Wow.
So you can bet every single throw, every single play, so you can, it's not your who wins. All right, you lost
Right.
$50 on whatever. You're betting $5, $10 on 100 things.
Jeez, I didn't realize that.
So remember back in the day, you couldn't, at least in New Hampshire, you could not charge lottery tickets. Anything to do with the lottery, you could not put on a credit
I didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense, but I didn't know that. We don't do the lottery.
Well, for business purposes, I used to give them away at Christmas, 5
it's a great
cards
idea.
or something to people as a thank you to like title companies and all these things. And you could not buy them with a credit card. So I would have to buy them cash and then get reimbursed, which is no big deal. And it was like, well, that makes sense. You shouldn't be charging. If you don't have money to gamble, you shouldn't charge it.
Right. Yeah, that does make sense. It's
And
smart.
now you put your credit card online and you just go to town. Massachusetts has a law that you can sign over the deed to your house. If you have equity in your home, you could gamble with the equity in your home,
Oh, my word.
which
That's
means
just
you're losing your
ridiculous.
home, because guess what? Yeah, so it's really bad. And as a society, I think it's not healthy. And what quick way to rob everyone of their money if inflation's not doing it? The gas. The
Look where we
supermarket
come
should.
up when we get locked down for 2 years. See what happens? People
Yeah.
are going to get, look for entertainment. Jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I think anything online feels a little fake. When back 100 years ago, my father took me to Atlantic City for my graduation, because my father did like to gamble. And you used to have to pull a lever.
Yes.
So it felt like something. Now you just press a button. You press a button all day long. You press a
Yes.
button on the computer. You press a button. Everything's just press button.
I would like the cha-ching.
Yeah.
Like pulling that thing down.
But I used to pretend I lost, take the money my father gave me and just pocket it, and I'd walk around, and then I'd come back later. And then sometimes I'd come back 2 minutes later, like, I lost the 100. So, and I would just pocket all the money. I have rent to pay. I couldn't deal with that.
Okay, so I have a funny story. Powerball, this was years ago. Powerball was like really high and everybody was playing it. And Chris is like, do you want to do that? I'm like, I don't know how to do it. So we go into, I'm like, let's try it. Everybody was doing it. Mom's like, do these numbers, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how to do it. We asked the lady at the store, and she's like, oh, you have to do it over here. And it was a machine, and then you put your money in, and then you can put your numbers in, or you have it randomly pick. Well, Chris didn't have anything other than $100 bill. And he's like, well, we'll do 10. He stuck it in there thinking we're getting change back. There's no change. And now we're like, oh.
We just put
So we're
100
not-
portable tickets.
We did. And we didn't win $1 on any of them.
Yeah.
I think we picked our own numbers for like 3 lines, and then we'd let the computer auto generate the rest of it.
Yeah,
And he's like,
97 other ones you have to do.
He turned around and looked at me, and he's like, hey, did you like that date? I'm like, yeah, are you ready to go home? He just blew $100 at the mobile station. Also, scratch tickets. Like, I've never been one to get scratch tickets. I'd get them for my kids just in their
Stalking or something.
Yes, or sometimes I'd put it in their lunchbox or just, a little random
Treat.
surprise or whatever. I don't think anybody ever won anything over like $2 or something. But I had a friend of mine that she and her husband used to go and play. They always set like a certain amount aside, and they were going to go do scratch tickets. And this woman has unbelievable luck. What she learned, and I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble, but I don't think so. When you have the lottery, the scratch tickets, New Hampshire doesn't pull when all the big prizes are gone. They don't pull the tickets. Massachusetts, so they would drive into Massachusetts to go get them. So if it says it's a $10,000 thing and they have it, or all the big prizes are gone, they still keep it in rotation. I don't know if they still do that or not, but I was like, yeah, that's a waste. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
And she did tell me that Massachusetts pulls that ticket once all the big ones are gone. And I was like,
Interesting. I remember when
your odds
the
are
lottery
already.
first came out. Do you
Really?
remember that when they were voting, should we legalize gambling in the form of a lottery? And you know what they told us? They told us all this money is going to go to the schools and to roads and all of these amazing things.
Right. I wouldn't have the potholes I do out on my road, or our taxes wouldn't be so high for
So
schools.
think of all the money. Where does that money go?
Where does it go?
Where does that
Inquiring
go?
minds want to know. If you know, please call in.
Yeah. Put on our Facebook page. Tell us where all that goes, because we just think it's in someone's pockets.
But so all of that even goes back to what you were talking about before, external validation versus, I think that we're living in a world where we're losing the concept of internal validation.
And that's almost like external motivation and internal motivation. They're very similar. The validation and the motivation are actually, I think, tied together, because why do you get up and go work out in the morning? Well, I want to look good. Sure. But what makes you get up and go, well, I want to feel better. I want to get stronger. You'll have an internal motivation. But if you can only work out because you need to post that you worked out, or do you finish your workout and then post done or something?
Right.
There's just a slight enough difference, and I'm not critiquing anyone who posts their workout at all. I'm not. I actually watch people do different workout videos like, oh, that's a move, I'll try or something. I'm not criticizing it, but I think of all the times that I've worked out that I've never posted. I'm not doing this I don't need the motivation to come from outside. It's coming from inside.
Well, Chris and I would post when we were doing 75 Hard, or we'd
Yes.
go to the gym, and
Yes,
we'd bring
yes.
the kids with us, and we did 75 Hard with a group, so I would take everybody's group picture, and you kind of can see the progress of it.
Yeah, I love that.
But also using it to inspire people.
And I think that's different. I think
so-
when you're doing something like a challenge or something like that, I think that's a little bit different. Even then, keep talking, because I have to phrase what I'm thinking.
Well, I was just
better.
thinking, to me, it doesn't really matter if your sole purpose for going to the gym is to post pictures to say that you went to the gym. Like, there's also kudos to you, because you're actually showing up and you're actually doing it. So if you're doing it for the purpose of getting the likes, like, if you need that kind of validation, but it's not sustainable, and you're actually not doing anything to love yourself. You're just still relying on those likes or people's comments in order to be, you're using that to be empowered or to be motivated to continue to do that. So I I don't know, 10 to 1, half dozen the other.
Well, all of these social media platforms have the validation piece, right?
Yeah.
But it's not really pure. It's not rigged, just like gambling. It's not rigged. Now we have this algorithm thing. So you could have something that genuinely 100,000 people would like if 100,000 people could see it.
Yes. Well, yeah, because it, again,
So I think social media almost is a form of gambling
well, I think that it says
with your emotional
validation.
validation, with your
Yes.
emotional well-being.
Yes. Yes. I think, because of everything is at our fingertips, I think we're not taught to look inwards anymore. It's so easy and convenient to find validation outside any social media platform. Why you're using these likes or doing any of these things. And I think in the long run, it's to our detriment.
Mm-hmm. When I think of, I see one thing and then I see it 1,000 times. I'm like, this is what makes it uninteresting.
Yes.
Because now everyone's copying the thing because they're trying to get validation.
Right.
When the whole point is sharing something is you're sharing something important to you or interesting to you or funny to you.
Yes.
And sometimes when I every once in a while I'll forward in our posts something that makes me laugh and I'll put it back up in our story and and because that's like that made me laugh and I'll share that.
Yes.
But I'm not looking for 7 million. I'm just trying to share it with somebody,
Right.
I'm just trying to share it. I'm not looking for people to validate that piece of it.
Well, so do you think everybody wants to be an influencer now because social media is so...
I think if there's an element of or a component, well, what are we all doing this for
True.
if we don't have influence?
I like to make reels just because I like to make reels.
Mm.
I mean, I like them and I think it's funny, I have a lot that I haven't made that probably it's someone else's expense.
Well, the minute I start getting into do this for the algorithm, I'm like, why am I even doing this?
Yes.
That's where
Yes.
that was that response that I gave you was, well, if it has to be contrived, the content has to fit your 15 different things, then it's not what I want to make anyways. Right. The reason why the reason why I love photographs and arts, all of these different things is because I like what I like.
Yeah, I like what I like. And a lot of times I'll do the things I'll make. It's a great way to do a memory.
Yes.
And so I think the way that I'm doing my Facebook page, for the most part, is when I'm gone, my kids still have that. And like a lot of times when my memories will come up and I didn't tag them in it because they weren't on social media and they were younger, I go back and tag them in it because it will come up long after I'm gone. It's kind of like a photo album or a memory book. In a way.
Yes.
So that's why it's important. It's important to me. And if I can make it, they smile or they laugh like, oh my gosh, I remember this. And, I like it from the memory standpoint. I think to me, one of the most precious things are our experiences and our memories.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, so yesterday.
And that's what I love it for that. I think that's what it was originally designed for.
Yes. I remember like 2008. I don't know when exactly Facebook came up, but like 2008.
I was looking that up actually.
It was, I think a couple of people were on it, and I was like, nah, I don't think I signed up until like 2000.
Because it was MySpace first.
Oh, yeah. My sister was a great blogger on MySpace.
Oh, you can blog on MySpace? I was never on MySpace.
I think I wasn't either. I didn't know any, and I had babies at this time. So I think I didn't get on until like 2009, and then it was like a year of everybody you're reaching out and connecting with people from high school and college and just childhood friends that you hadn't seen in a long time. So a lot of that was like, I loved it from that standpoint. But now everything is about the algorithm and,
yes,
if you're, it's so like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, the word. It's so important that we get those likes and get those numbers up. The true thing is, in order to touch all those people. You have to have the right hashtags. You have to know, Facebook has to know that you're on social media for amount of time
Yes.
before they're going to put your stuff out. Oh, well, this person's been on for, a half an hour. One of the things I learned too is when people do a long form post, Facebook won't promote it if you have typed it in your notes. You've typed it up in your notes and it's a long form post, and they see the word count and they know that you didn't do that in 30 seconds. So they don't bump
They punish you.
They don't bump your post.
Yeah.
Because they're like, it's not authentic. We want you on the page. So what somebody had said is how to get around that is to go in and like you're going to write a post, leave it up, and then go write your notes, copy, and then paste it so it looks like you've been on Facebook. It's crazy. Now
You're gaming the system. It's almost like gambling. You're gaming it.
yes, but you actually have to have like 5,000 friends or people following you in order to get like 300, to get your message in front of 200 or 300 people.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I don't know. I can't figure it out.
I know. And now you have to hire people and teams of people, and it's a marketing thing. It's definitely a marketing thing. But what I like about it is I like when it's not a marketing thing.
Yes.
I don't need another advertisement.
Right. You just use it for, a lot of times I just go and X, delete them all. But yeah.
Did I tell you I was on the plane? It was a little while ago, and this woman had no ads in her feed. And I'm noticing I have ads every 3. And so I said to her, how did you do that? How did you curate your Instagram so that she goes, I've never, ever liked anything on Instagram. I said, you've never hit the heart button. She said, nope. I go, how long have you had this profile? She's like, 7 years. Some ridiculous amount of years.
Wow.
And I was like, and you've never liked anything? You've never commented on it? Nothing. I've never DM'd somebody. I said, she had no ads.
Wow.
And I longed at her.
I listened to somebody one day on the radio. She never smiled, and she was in control of she didn't want wrinkles.
I see that.
And so she controlled her facial expressions for a long time. And I'm like, gosh, what kind of life is that?
Yeah.
I think those are your war stories. I mean, believe me, I don't really want mine. My WTF lines, they're like, wow, those are deep today.
Was I making them all morning?
Right. Did I fall asleep that way?
I go back to, who are we doing this for? When I'm doing social media, because I can get disenchanted with it really quickly, because I'm trying to find the people that I like, and all I'm getting is ads, and I'm getting annoyed.
Yes.
So then I pop off
So
I pop it off.
So we'll do a little Facebook lesson.
Yeah, I need help because I don't go on Facebook enough at all, because when I go on there, I don't see any of the people I want to see. I followed like 400 people so I could see people, and I don't see anybody.
So if you go onto your page and you go onto the menu, so where you go here, so I'm on my page and I go here, and you see feeds, you can hit friends.
Oh, thank God.
And that will bring a lot of your friends up.
2024, I am getting Facebook instructions. Thank you, Robyn.
You're welcome.
I must not have chosen that.
Happy Friday.
Thank God I said something. Thank God I said something on the show.
Now we did a little tongue-tied. Now we did a little lesson. No, but I think a lot of it is because of that, is because we are in everybody's business 24/7. We depend. I don't even think we realize what we've created inside of ourselves about depending on validation from others instead of finding validation within, a drive that's within.
All right, I'll ask you, is there anything, how do I want to phrase this question? How would you interact with the people that you care about or your friends if all of a sudden everything went away, social media went away?
Probably write a letter.
That's so funny. I bought a letter writing kit from the bookstore. They had these beautiful designed envelopes and beautiful designed paper. And I bought a letter writing kit, and I started writing letters this year.
That's cool.
Because I said, imagine getting something in the mail that's not a bill.
I know you're like, what? When
No one's written me one back, by the
When
way.
my sister and I were little, we really wanted something to come in the mail. So we would write each other letters and go
Yes.
stick them in the mailbox. Just
That's so funny.
And sometimes we would do like wrap up little trinkets or, something that I'm going to give her out of my room. We'd wrap it up and put it in a box, wrap it up and put it in the mailbox. Like, talk about bored.
Yeah.
But we had fun.
Yeah. I've written letters to myself and posted them so I could get stuff in the mail when I was little.
It's funny.
Because I worked at my mother's office. I didn't go to a daycare or anything, and I used to sit in my mother's office, and she had stamps, and she had letters, and she had envelopes.
I'm
And
going to
while I-
write myself. That's so cute. Did you leave it? So one time,
I never saved any of them. but
my daughter used to.
what did I
she
even
was
say
a
to myself?
Big writer. My daughter was a big writer, and we actually still have the envelope. I'll have to pull it out. And it says note to self on the envelope, or it says it's to her. And she says, save this for when you really need a smile. Or you're having a rough day. Open me when you're having a rough day, or something like that. Then one time she wrote a note to herself, put it in a Ziploc bag, and buried it in the ground. So we're going to do a treasure hunt, and she'll find it one day. Well, we've since moved, but
And now someone else is going to find it.
yes,
That's
It's
awesome.
cute.
That is really, really awesome.
But she was always writing and always trying to express herself that way. I say writing, but just because I'm not really a phone person, but if the phone were my only means, then yes.
I used to do these books. I haven't done them in a long time. I think I'm going to start doing them again, where I just take all the photos and make a album. There's a company called Z&O, and that's where wedding photographers get their books from. When you have your wedding, they'll put them on these archival paper, really thick
Wow.
books. And once I found that, I started making books for everybody, and then I just kind of fell off. It was one of those things that I really loved, and everybody loved it, and then I don't know, I stopped doing it. Maybe I'll start doing that.
Well, when my kids were little, I was taking
Not that I'm getting off
millions
social
and
media,
millions
but
of pictures, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do their baby books and their photo albums. I am going to do that like my grocery list. It is going to be organized from timeline, everything. Problem is, I had like over 10,000 pictures on my external hard drive, and how do you know which ones to delete?
well, what ends up
That's what my problem is. Like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, that one's so cute. That one looks almost just like it, but I can't delete that. So then I got stuck.
yeah,
And-
you're paralyzed.
yes. So nah, we don't have that anymore. Now they're still on a big hard drive. Hey, New Schweinstein, we've been there.
Is that Germany?
Yes. That's Cinderella's. That's the castle that Cinderella's castle at Disney was made after.
In our studio, we have a television that sometimes shows ice skating. It shows all different things, but today it's just traveling through the world in pictures, and Germany just came up for us.
Yes, I love when you see something or you're in a movie and you're like, oh my gosh, I was there. I was at the Trevi Fountain.
How many countries have you been to?
Do you count the Caribbean as countries, different ones?
Yeah, because
I
they're
don't know.
owned by different people, right?
But like European countries, France, Switzerland, Germany, and Italy. Canada, Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and then all the ones in Caribbean. I don't know if you'd want to count those or not.
I don't know. They're French territories, Dutch territories, English. They're all
mean-
different territories. Have you ever been on a cruise?
No. Have you been on a cruise?
I have. Senior year. Was it senior year of college? Or junior year of college? It was in college. I took a trip. And it was not as advertised. And so this was before we had the internet or we had phones or anything, so you could know what you were expecting. So you're just looking at the brochure, and there's people playing volleyball on the top deck and doing all of these things.
Oh, it looks like it's so fun.
It looks like it's so fun, and then you get on, and there's a big drain around the pool because all the water comes out of the pool,
Oh, yeah.
drains back in because the boat is moving so heavily. No one's playing volleyball.
So no
one's playing
So you're
basketball.
not only not swimming in pee-pee water, but you're also swimming on like all the water that had your beer spilled and foot traffic and on the floor and like all that dirty stuff. Like, man,
What's really funny is, and we had a great time. We had a fantastic time, but we were young kids. We would have had a good time in a box.
Would you go on a cruise now?
Certain places I would do maybe a Mediterranean cruise.
I would do a Mediterranean or a European cruise.
Because you get to see a lot of countries at
Yes.
once. I would do that, but I wouldn't do the Caribbean again on a cruise.
The guy that just did my taxes, it's funny conversation. His daughter is a dentist, and has another daughter that's over living in Africa doing some work, and she's been to all these different countries. His wife and like 6 or 7 people in his family have all been to Tufts. 3 of them are dentists. His wife is an OBGYN. And I was like, man, the stuff you learn about somebody while you're doing your taxes. But they're getting ready to have their 40th wedding anniversary, and they are going on a Viking cruise.
All right,
like
so you're the
Paris,
third person
French.
saying that.
I think it's like along the French coast. I think it dips down into Italy. I can't remember all the places, and I was like, I've heard those have been really cool.
So that's the third person in like 2 weeks who's told me about Viking cruises
Well,
over there.
Smaller numbers too.
Mm-hmm.
There's smaller numbers, and when I was
I could do a Ritz-Carlton cruise.
yes,
The Ritz-Carlton on the water's fine.
I don't know that I would be interested in doing it now, but they have these barge cruises, and what they'll do is you can take your bike. So if you like to bicycle, they'll drop you off in one spot, and then you bike to the next destination in Europe, so you get to see it. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do the Tour de France. Maybe if we had a tandem and Chris was doing the pedaling up the hills.
Right, because this is very hilly over there.
Like, I got you, boo, going downhill.
Right. Uphill, that's you.
That's right.
Less me, more you.
Right. I got us on lockdown. In pedal flat, I can do that. Funny.
When we come back at the top of the hour, we'll go into more. You are listening to Lisa and Robyn on the mic on WSMN, 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen every Thursday from 10 to noon. Today is a special episode. And we are live on Facebook and YouTube. We are talking, I don't know, about everything.
A little bit about just a decompress of the week.
I think so. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit. I have a couple of questions for you.
All right.
And then, do you speak any languages?
No, I took Latin. Took 4 years of Latin.
I took Latin, too. I wish I took French.
I did. I try to tell my kids to take French. They did take Spanish. Our son, he does. He's Spanish.
I took Spanish, too, but I don't remember a thing. I remember zapatos, which is shoes, and pantalones, which is pants, and like a couple of foods.
I know grazie in Italian. I know a couple of words and phrases in French.
Stay tuned. We'll be back in 7 minutes.
WSMN 1590, WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Listen, watch, and stream at WSMN.live.
Have you tried to quit drinking before, and much to your surprise and dismay, you couldn't? Have you tried therapy, meetings, and treatment programs, but still can't seem to stay stopped? Or maybe you live in fear that you'll lose your job, your home, or your family, and much more if you don't get this figured out, and soon. Well, there is.
USA News, I'm Corey Myers. New York's Democratic Attorney General ready to seize some of Donald Trump's properties in New York if he doesn't come up with a large amount of bond money by Monday. USA's Laura Winters reports.
New York Attorney General Letitia James taking the first step towards seizing some of Donald Trump's assets if he can't meet Monday's deadline to post his $464 million bond in order to appeal his civil fraud judgment. James filing documents to lay the groundwork to take over Trump's golf course and a large estate he owns in Westchester County, New York.
The latest draft resolution from the United Nations Security Council calls for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza between Israel and Hamas. The U.S. negotiated the language of the proposed resolution, which at first draft contained a clause that, along with the ceasefire, Hamas would release hostages. The second draft, however, did not contain that stipulation. The U.S. is hoping the Security Council votes on it today. An Alabama woman who lied about her kidnapping has been ordered to pay nearly $18,000 in restitution and sentenced to probation. Carly Russell was charged with 2 misdemeanors for making false statements to police in July. She told police that she had been kidnapped after going missing for 2 days, then eventually admitted to police through her attorney that there was no kidnapping and she made the whole thing up. Her disappearance set off a nationwide search involving local and federal law enforcement. She pled not guilty in October to false reporting to law enforcement authorities and falsely reporting an incident. This is USA News.
Attention! This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now to get started with your free, no-obligation consultation.
800-559-4185. 800-559-4185. 800-559-4185. That's 800-559-4185.
Alltrix Primary Care, Nashua. They are a dedicated group of board-certified nurse practitioners, NPs, striving to make a difference in healthcare. They promise to make every effort to provide you with the best possible care and focus on you as an individual. As NPs, they are licensed to assess, diagnose, treat medical conditions, and prescribe medications. At Alltrix, they welcome new patients and accept most commercial insurance plans and Medicare. For those without insurance, consider Alltrix Direct, which provides all of your primary care for a small, affordable membership fee. No co-pays, no fee-for-service payments, and no third-party billing. Alltrix Primary Care provides unhurried, highly personalized health care for you and your family. Visit alltrixpc.com/Nashua. That's www.alltrixpc.com/Nashua. Alltrix Primary Care, changing the future of primary care for you and your family.
Are you or your loved ones in need of compassionate care in the comfort of your own home? Look no further than Heaven Sent Home Care. Heaven Sent knows the importance of personalized care tailored to your unique needs. Whether it is assistance with daily activities, medication management, or specialized medical care, our compassionate caregivers are ready to provide the highest quality of in-home care. The services provided by Heaven Sent Home Care extend beyond physical care. They also offer companionship, ensuring that you or your loved ones have someone to share stories, laughters, and meaningful moments with. Experience the peace of mind that comes with knowing your loved ones are in capable hands. Or visit us online at heavensenthomecarellc.com to schedule a consultation and learn more about the comprehensive range of services provided. Heaven Sent Home Care, where care and compassion come together.
Are you
craving a delicious home-cooked breakfast or lunch? Look no further than Cookie's Diner, Hudson's favorite dining spot. But it's not just about the food at Cookie's Diner. Their friendly staff provides top-notch service, making you feel like part of the diner family. Cookie's Diner, conveniently located at 222 Central Street in Hudson. They're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. and Sunday from 7 a.m. until 1 p.m. Call-ahead orders are always welcome via DoorDash or by calling 603-880-3424. Cookie's Diner, where great food and fantastic service come together.
Come try your luck at the Lucky Moose Casino and Tavern. Your favorite casino gaming machines await you, including Ultimate Firelink, Buffalo, and Wheel of Fortune. Visit the Lucky Moose, exit 6 off the Everett Turnpike, or online at theluckymoosecasino.com. Open daily at 9 a.m., breakfast 9 to noon, and our delicious menu available for the rest of the day. Burgers, chicken tenders, pizza, and more.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Lisa and Robyn are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking what's next. They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robyn, on the mic.
Welcome back to the second hour of Lisa and Robyn on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM, and you can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. I had a question for you.
Fire away.
What is the probability or likelihood that you would join a cult?
Highly likely.
Which cult would you join?
A bohemian cult.
One that promised flowers and maybe
if you
some.
If you had asked me probably even 6 months ago, I probably would have said no. But
I think we all say no, but the answer is all could be yes.
Yeah. Like, it just depends on what it was. If I have to share my meals all the time, every day with somebody, probably not, because I do like to have my own space. But to find a tribe where you're in the same value system, the same energy space, yeah, I like that. So I actually was thinking about, I think I would like to be a shaman. I don't know what's going.
You and Nick are going to be on a journey.
Yes. So I like finding out about all that stuff. I love finding out about some of the stuff. Just makes sense on my notes, about how energy is everywhere, where everything is made of energy. We learn it in science and math. I mean, you learn molecules and it's vibration energy. And I love that sound. I love that. And sometimes I feel weird saying stuff out loud. Wow, that sounds kind of wacky. But I'm I kind of keep leaning into it. And I'm I really like it. I feel since starting on that journey about exploring about your vibration, and I think I really should call it the journey into self. Because I think that the more that you go in, the more that you want to put good out. And I think that the more that I go inward and learn about me, the more I feel, the more calm I feel, the more I don't need validation from the outside world, the more joy I live in. So if I could find like-minded people, abso-freaking-lutely.
Well, I think there's a couple of little cults I already belong to. There's a foodie cult.
Well, true.
I kind of belong to. And then my yoga group, not that we're a cult. I mean, that's kind of a hard line word, but where everyone is going with the same intention, just handling it separately.
Yes.
And I found a studio that everyone is just really lovely to each other. Everyone celebrates each other's wins. Everybody doesn't have to know very much, but just is hoping for the best for you.
Yes.
They're trying to do the best for them.
But I think anybody that does yoga, I feel like they have a level of an awareness, or they are looking internally to connect with your soul, your soul spirit, whatever you want to call it, your internal self, your subconscious mind. All right, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you like burgers?
I love burgers.
Burgers on the grill or burgers in like pan fried?
I prefer pan fried personally.
I do too. Have you ever? I don't think I've ever had a burger on the grill that I'm like, oh my God, this is to die for.
Right. Unless you
They're just
cover it
dry.
in caramelized onions.
See, I don't
or-
like caramelized onions.
You don't like caramelized onions?
I don't like onions.
Okay.
I like the flavor of onions, but I don't like the texture.
Okay.
And I love the smell. Like when you go down to Fenway and you're walking down.
The sausages and peppers.
Yes, the sausage, peppers, and onions. And I also love the smell of like onions cooking, bacon and onions, or just any. And I love the smell of it when you walk into Five Guys, or like sometimes Chris he'll get the raw onions on their burger, and that blend, that smell of burger and onion, like that smells really good. But I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Even on, like, I'm not a big on hot dogs, but I love the smell of onions on the hot dog. Like, maybe that's just ballpark that I'm thinking.
Yeah, and I
love
do believe
Fenway.
that there's food that's associated with places that make it more exciting. Like a hot dog in my house is nowhere as exciting as a
Yes.
hot dog at
Well,
the
so we
ballpark.
don't do it very often, but I will share a secret. So when we do, so there's a little place called, I think it's called the Dog House in Milford. It's just this little tiny shack. They have like a little gift shop. I think it's beside the Dunkin' Donuts, and she does like wreaths and like jellies and jams and things like that, local stuff that people make local. So she has the best hot dogs. And I'm not a big hot dog person, but it's mild in flavor. I don't like snap. I don't like when you bite into it and it snaps. I'm like, I just feel like I'm
Too much skin.
Yeah, I don't like the skin. That just makes me gag. Anyway. So you actually, if you steam the dogs, you steam the hot dogs. So you have to, a lot of times people say that you put them in the water, but you have to, don't be in the water. You do like a double boiler. You steam them, but you butter the buns, and it has to be the split top buns. When growing up, we never had those. We had the old, like, I think they call the Coney Island style. Like, it looks like a little tiny loaf of bread. So you butter the split top, and then you grill them on the pan. So you crisp up the outside of it, and it's got that little bit of a buttery flavor. So you steam the dogs. Then you do mustard, chili, and slaw. And it is so good.
I like sauerkraut on my dogs. I like mustard and
I've never had
sauerkraut.
sauerkraut on my dogs.
It's a vinegary.
Well, it's kind of how the
crunchy.
slaw is. It has just that little bit of sweetness, but mix the textures and the flavor with the chili, the little tang of mustard, and that little sweet and the crunch of the slaw. And I never ate coleslaw in my whole life until I had a bite of Chris's down at that Dog House. And I was like, I think I could make these better at home.
And did you?
Yes, we did.
I think it's funny how I probably never want a hot dog, but when I want a hot dog, I want 6 of them.
Yes. Yes.
It's like something I never have, and then when I have them, I'm like, I'm having this whole pack of hot dogs.
I'm having it. It is.
I'm eating 8 hot dogs by myself.
I know.
All 5 for me.
I've tried the turkey ones for, you know. I've tried the turkey. And
I don't like turkey, and I like turkey as turkey.
That's it.
And then I don't like ground turkey and meatballs.
Nope.
There's not enough fat, I think. That's
Yeah, and I think you can never, no matter how much seasoning or sauce that you put on it, you can never, ever change the color of it. I think with ground chicken, like I've made ground chicken, and I've done, it's taco ranchero. So it's got like it's for a chicken seasoning for taco. So it's got just like a hint. It's got some taco seasoning, and it's got some ranch seasoning in it. So I never use a whole packet of any of the seasonings that I use. If I'm going to do like a taco seasoning, it's got way too much sodium in it. And I make fresh salsa, so I will use a little bit of that seasoning, and then I will use my salsa in it to flavor the rest of the hamburger. Because if you go to La Coretta and stuff, the meat is not overly seasoned.
Yeah, it's not.
It's got a little bit. You can still have like a ground beef flavor. So I like to use my salsa because it keeps the moisture in it. But anyway, that was my fun fact. I'm just like, am I the only person that doesn't like burgers on the grill? They're
No,
just
I don't like
dry.
them. And I also think people don't know how to grill.
That's true.
I don't know what. Every time I see a guy with a spatula at the grill, I want to take that spatula and smash him in the face. I want to be like, stop touching it.
Hold up, buddy. Do you have a degree in that? Let me see. What's your certification?
You're supposed to be putting it down. And I don't know, people are squeezing all the liquid out of it.
Yes.
I don't.
Well, so also
Or
I
they
learned
touch it a lot. It's like it can't get cooked if you're doing that. You need brown spots and then non-brown spots.
Well,
That's
we
the point of
talked
grill.
about this before. Like, too, if your meat sticks to the pan, then that you've turned it too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave it alone. But I also know that when people are making their patties, like they are balling it up and they're like smashing it and pounding it. It's kind of like dough. You're compressing all the air out of it, so you're making it really thick and dense. I don't like those, and I don't like.
Do you make your own hamburger?
What do you mean? Do I grind my own meat?
No. Do you?
Oh, make my own patties?
Yes.
Yes. We make
Okay.
our own patties because
Do you
I've
flavor
never
them with
found one. Chris will do a little bit of Lowry's and a little
Okay.
bit of Lowry's seasoning salt and a little bit of pepper. It's got a great flavor, but I always feel like we've tried the thing. It says if you take your thumb and just put a dent in the top of it and you put an ice cube in it, so that moisture kind of seeps down as it's grilling on the bottom side of it. I've also done like a little pat of butter on top of it too, because who doesn't like butter and
Right. A little bit of fat helps it too.
Yes. It's never the combination, and I don't like a thick burger. Like, I don't like to dislocate my jaw trying to eat it.
I don't know when people put multiple burgers on a burger. They
Yes.
put multiple patties.
Yes.
Or they have multiple things. And I'm like, how do you get your mouth around that?
Right. I have to dislocate my jaw to get that.
Yeah.
Like,
That's not fun.
no, I don't like that.
I don't even like sausages on the grill. I still put a aluminum pan and then put the sausages in there so that they go in their own juices. They cook in their own juices.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because I think all you're leaching out is everything that I want to eat on the grill.
Yes. Actually, that's a good idea. I was thinking about making pierogies.
Mm.
I'm going to do pierogies.
We should have a pierogi party.
Oh. See,
Because you have to make a lot of them.
I've only done them once, and they are the pre-frozen ones. So I don't really. I'm like,
They're
what
not
do you
good.
dip them in?
Usually do bacon, butter, salt and pepper, and then add sour cream. So you put bacon and butter at the bottom. You saute them in that, and then you just top with a little bit of sour cream.
I was gonna do sausage, peppers, and onions, and then cook those and do like a juice kind of a friend of mine. She said there's I think it's Newman's family owned Italian recipe dressing. It's not sweet. So when you mix that, and I've done that with hot sausages before, it kind of gives it a savory flavor, but it mixes with the juice, and I thought that might be good to do with pierogies, but I feel like you need some kind of more of a sauce.
We had probably Robbie's 5, so Robbie was 6 months old, so almost 5 years ago, John's grandmother came up to my house. Everyone came over to my house, and we had a pierogi party to learn how to make pierogies. How thick should they be, and how to load them, and all of that other stuff. And I don't know. We made pierogies. Someone's having a good time. And we probably made like 60.
Wow.
So then we froze a whole bunch, but then we made them, and we did them with the bacon, butter, and...
So what did you do for your dough? Did you just do...
I would have to look at the recipe. I wrote down the recipe.
Oh, so you made
and
the
I
dough.
videotaped it. Yes.
Oh. I was going to say like dumpling wrappers or...
No. It's
that would be
pierogi
different.
dough. It's pierogi dough. It's just like ravioli dough is different.
Yes.
And
wonder if you could
it's a
buy-
very special kind of cheese inside. It's not like normal cheese that you normally would think it would be. I'll get my recipe and I'll actually bring it to the next... I'm going to write myself a note. I'll bring my...
I bet you could load it.
pierogi
Like, say,
recipe.
I think the.
You can fill them with anything. You can fill them with potatoes. You can fill a pierogi
I
with
just think
anything.
there's too much mashed potato in there. It's like a
I like cheese.
I
The
love
cheese
cheese.
is awesome.
I love cheese, and I actually think you could do like, what if you could do almost like a shepherd's pie in it? Like you could do ground beef in
Yeah.
there, mix that in with the mashed potatoes, and then some cheese.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of corn. I love corn on the cob, fresh corn on the cob where it snaps. Anything other than that, I don't. I'm
The
not a
last
big
couple
fan
of times
corn.
we went on vacation, I had Mexican street corn. And I don't know, that became my new thing now. If I go somewhere and I see Mexican street corn, I have to try it.
Isn't it? Don't they put some kind of a seasoning on it, but it's almost got a sweet.
It's almost like lime based or something. The few times that
It's
I've
probably
had
like a chili. You could probably do like a chili pepper, like a
cream.
chili lime
Mhm.
seasoning on it.
and then there's some kind of sour cream and butter combination. But that's my new thing. Is when we were down in Fort Lauderdale, I stopped at a food truck and had
A street corn.
street corn on a stick.
So, is it good? Was it?
Delicious. Yeah,
See,
it's good.
I'm such a snob about some foods. I don't usually.
I would
order
prefer to
corn on
make
the
my
cob
own
out.
corn. Yeah,
Yes.
I would prefer to make my own corn because sometimes when they cook corn too much, it's like, what's left of this?
It's mushy, and I don't like to bite into it, and it's mushy. And then it's almost like the sugar, like condenses, and it makes it even sweeter.
or starchy.
Yeah.
It makes it too starchy.
So, best way. I'm gonna give. We're doing a cooking show apparently.
Yeah, now for the next 15 minutes we're doing
So a lot of times, forever, every time I do corn and we have somebody over in the summer, they're like, "That's not enough water in that pot. There's not enough water." I literally will take my stock pot if I'm doing 6. It doesn't matter if I'm doing. I've done a large. I've done up to like 12 ears in one pot. I only put maybe an inch or two of water in the bottom of it. I get that boiling. And with the lid on, once that's boiling, I stick all of my corn down in that, put the lid back on, and kind of just shake it around a little bit and set the timer for 10 minutes. And that is it. So you're almost steaming it.
Mhm.
And it's just nice and it pops.
Yes. And I never salt the water.
No, I don't ever salt my water. I just when I'm done and I dump all the water out, I put my butter in the pan and then I will do salt and pepper,
Yes.
and then I just shake it like crazy. I'm like, yes.
I know we are getting into grilling season.
Yes.
We can talk about my filet mignon with stuff with pesto, the pinwheels.
Well, I do want to do our expectations, and I know you said you had some questions too that I'd like to.
I know. We started talking about food. Now I'm on food. And I'm kind of hungry.
I know.
Oh, I wanted to go to Takumi today.
Are you gonna go?
I want to. We wanted
they
to go
have
and
music?
play pool. They do have, well, no, they don't have music. They have pool.
I don't know how to play pool.
We'll teach you. Don't bet any money.
Yeah, I don't bet any money. I only bet if I know I'm gonna win.
But you can't know that.
Right. Well, I know I won't win at pool, so it's a pretty safe bet.
Have you ever ridden a dirt bike?
Yes.
Do you know how to ride a dirt bike?
Not very well.
Oh, I don't do it very well either. But
So the boys had dirt bikes, and I could barely. I don't know. I don't even know what. I don't even want to say it out loud. It was a big one.
Mhm.
I couldn't stand on it. I couldn't stand up on it, so it was too heavy. But I did ride like a little 80cc bike. Like that's my speed.
I have a 125.
You do?
I do. We should take it out.
I want a 125.
But the thing is, it's not. It's carburetor and it's constantly stalling.
Oh.
So that's why I get disenchanted with it because it's. Well, I'm supposed to keep it from stalling, but even John can't keep it from stalling.
So I wonder. Well, Logan, like
I know I want to go. And then we
builds
should
dirt
go.
bikes and builds them, designs them, creates them.
And doesn't so I think we should go, and then you and I just drive because I have an hour in me before I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Because it's a real workout. You have to hold yourself erect. You have to hold your arms out at 90-degree angles, and then everything's moving, and then it's exhausting.
Yes.
Because you're driving over dirt and sand. I remember every time something would happen and I'd come into a new medium. So we're driving on the dirt, and then it's like a little bit more sand than dirt. All of a sudden, I go crashing, and John goes, "What happens?" I endo over the thing, and I'm like, "I don't know." And he goes, "Well, you weren't going fast enough." I'm like, "Obviously." I didn't know that until I fell. So I do a lot of falling on the. I have all my stuff.
We need to get little mopeds, little scooters.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Because there's a part of me, John keeps watching these motorcycle videos, and all it does is make me want to get a motorcycle. And I don't need a motorcycle because I rarely know how to ride a motorcycle.
I had a hard time holding up his dirt bike, and when he was teaching me to ride it, I was nervous because it's so big, and I can't reach the pedals. I literally will have to lay the bike down to get my foot on the ground.
No, so mine's small. We could stand on mine, no problem. So we should just practice on mine.
Yes. We could practice. We
could do it in my yard. Go down to my driveway and just tool around my street until we get in trouble.
Oh, that's a good idea. Or we could go do it on my street because it's a small. We have that circle, but then we have that little dirt road. Yeah, we could drive it in the lawn. We're like, don't ruin my grass.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my grass.
The adult in us now. Don't ride on the grass. Right. Where am I supposed to ride this?
Right. Well, we could we could do a little trail through the woods if we got, but we have that stream. So you have to get it when it's dry season.
Well, I think we should go and then split the time, you and I, on the bike.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that.
Yes.
Yeah, because like I said, I don't even want to watch these videos with John because all it does is make me think I should drive a motorcycle.
I know. Well,
and then
he was walking beside me. You want to do what?
I want a Ducati.
You want a Ducati? I was like, you want to do something? What is that?
I want a Ducati. I don't even know if I can fit on a Ducati.
Oh, I don't know.
I've never sat on one. But I don't. And John's like, you just like saying Ducati. I'm like, I like the way they look.
I like the way it's. Yeah.
I like the way they look.
I think, yeah.
So I used to have a motorcycle license. So I'm, 19 or 20. And I decide one day, I'm going to get a motorcycle. I don't know what, I've been on the back of a couple of people's motorcycles. And so I don't have a motorcycle, but I have to learn. So I go to Hanscom Air Force Base on the weekends. They would have these tests. You go on their little motorcycle and then they tell you what to do. So I do that. But this is how I am. This in general. I sign up and then they're calling for rain the whole weekend.
Oh.
So I call and I'm like, when are we rescheduling this? And they're like, we're going in the rain. I'm like, I'm not going to ride my motorcycle in the rain. And they said, you live in New England, you will always ride your motorcycle in the rain. And I'm like, ugh. So I am so soaking wet.
Ugh.
And I don't have rain gear because I'm way more concerned about being cute than I am about being functional. I don't own anything rain gear. And so I'm in jeans and I am just sopping wet. Like I can't even get the clothes off me at the end of the day because they're so stuck wet to you. Why don't I just go in a pool with my outfit on? And I always wore tight clothes, so getting anything on and off was tricky when they were dry.
Right.
And now everything's wet.
I had to lay down on the bed and suck it in.
So I did. So I did do that, but I haven't ridden. But then I got on the back of John's because then I'm actually saving money to buy a motorcycle when I meet John, and then John gets a motorcycle, and then I'm on the back of his, and then I all of a sudden don't feel the need to ride anymore.
Yeah.
And then
because now you have a chauffeur.
And now I have a chauffeur, and then he's so much better. What's my limited experience? A couple of weekends on a bike.
Yeah. Well, I know that if I got a motorcycle and he got a motorcycle, we would never ride together.
Right, because he'd be ahead by 700 miles.
Yes. And I would be like, I'm just going to be careful. There's old granny over here. Just go be cautious.
And I'm at the point now, I don't even care. Go 700 miles an hour. That's your thing. I'm going to do my 45 or 60. But what I'm afraid of is I'm going to drive it like I drive.
Yeah. Yes.
And all of a sudden now it's just going to be the turn of the wrist. I can do 150 or something. And I don't know what I'm doing.
Flick of the wrist and I'm gone.
Right. But so he keeps playing these videos because he's, watching all these different people and all this stuff. And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, I don't want to watch these videos because now I'm getting an itch to ride a motorcycle. I'm 52. I'm getting a bike. I've never, and my sister-in-law says, we should go take the course. And then I think, we should do that. But then we're going to get a bike.
Then we're going to get a bike.
Or we should just get one bike and just share it between us because how much are we really going to ride it?
There you go.
Like, let's
See,
divvy
I
a
would
bike.
I would love to have like a little.
And I have a dirt bike that I don't use because I hate starting it.
Wait, you have to bring it over and see
Okay,
if
we'll do it.
Logan can tinker with it and fix it.
John's tried tinkering with it too.
Well, because
It's just a stupid carburetor.
Well,
I want fuel injection.
they bought Grayson a little. I don't know if it's an 80, or do they make them smaller than an 80? So maybe it's a 50. I mean, it's tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be like for a 5-year-old.
Yes.
But he's learning to ride it, but they also put the regulator on it so it doesn't go very fast. And
Yeah, the speed limiter.
yeah, it was over at our bike. I mean, literally, I don't even think the whole thing comes up to my knee.
Yes, you can't ride it. It's small
Like-
enough you can't ride
Oh,
it.
I can fit
Oh,
on
you
it.
can?
Yes. It's funny. I was at Target today, so I had to do my quick, I was looking for outdoor pillows for my couch. I'm walking by the little girls section, the children's section, and they have this cute little like rosy lace top. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. I was like, I think that'll fit me. Sure enough, I got a large.
Nice.
I'm like, I got to try this on real quick. Because I'm thinking that's going to look really cute with a pair of like linen pants.
Yes.
Like this color linen, like a brown linen with the pink and maybe like a white.
So I think you
some
would look
white in
amazing
there.
in linen. I look like it just came out of the hamper.
I
when
love
wear
linen, but I do. Yeah.
I don't look, how linen has a wrinkled look to it,
Yes.
but it looks good on people. I look like, did you not
Yeah.
iron those or?
I feel like that's how I do. If I have a linen top, my pants I've let go. I've like, okay, that's fine. They're just going to be wrinkled.
They're just, but I don't, for some reason, when I wear the wrinkled, I look like you should iron those.
Yes.
When I see other people in wrinkled, they don't look like they need to be ironed.
Maybe they starch it.
Maybe.
Maybe they starch them. I don't even own an iron anymore. We have an iron, but I think it stopped working.
I bought a steamer. Those
we have a
steam-
steamer.
Okay.
Yes.
I bought one because I'm sick of ironing. I think I've done enough ironing for my life. I think
Really?
I'm just
Do you
gonna steam.
you do? What do you iron?
I have cotton tops that I iron.
Oh.
I have a couple of pairs of pants that if I don't iron them, they look like. Did you get attacked on your way over here?
Did you sleep in that for 3 days?
I thought you were going to put on a new outfit. This is a new outfit.
It's the new look.
Yeah.
The
it's
wrinkled look.
The rumpled wrinkled look. Okay. Are you good with song lyrics?
No.
Oh, really?
Terrible. And yeah, I don't. Because I think that Chris and I had this conversation. There's people that listen to the lyrics. What do you hear first? Do you hear the beat or do you hear the words first? I hear the beat.
I do, but I also hear the lyrics.
Chris is like, do you have any idea what that song says? And I'm like, not a clue. And he's like, let me rewind it and let you play that again. I'm like, oh, wow.
Well, I've just been noticing every single time I'm at a bank drive-through, Chick-fil-A drive-through, somewhere where I'm rolling down the window in my car, the tolls, I am listening to the song lyrics that are swearing right at the exact moment I'm rolling my window down. And I'm like, I swear I'm not listening to trashy music. This is really good. This is a really good song that I didn't think there was any swearing to. That's why I was listening to it on the way to the bank. And I get to the bank and there's F-bombs everywhere in it. And I'm like, I didn't hear that before.
So I have a playlist. I have a couple of different playlists. And if you pick a song off of that playlist, I can sing along with it. But if somebody were like, oh, what's the words to that? I'm like, oh, no clue. And I do admire people that can pick out movie quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man, I have to write all of that. I have to write those down. I'm like, oh, I'm going to remember that. No, I won't.
There are movies that I've just watched enough that I know.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever watched any movie
You know what we
multiple times.
Oh, really? So when I was younger, I would have the VCR tapes.
Oh,
We would
yes.
videotape it off of HBO or Showtime. We would tape it.
Yep.
And then if I liked something, I would just watch that on repeat.
Yeah. So
Because
my
what I
kids
would
can
do
that.
is I would watch it and then I would leave it because I had already seen it before, I would leave it on the background and do something else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then it was comforting because I knew the movie and I didn't have to pay attention to it.
That's true.
And then I could go about my daily
Well,
life.
yes. So, but you're still there, but you're not there.
Well, I know what's going to happen, and I can
Yes.
pop in mentally when there's a scene that I
Yeah,
like.
and you're kind of just sharing the experience. Like you're there, but you're not there. Like
Yeah.
I know what's going on in the background. I don't have to watch it to elicit the same feelings that
Mhm.
it gives me, because you already know. See, I'm
You got to remember, I was an only child too.
yeah.
So there wasn't, if you're in the winter and you can't go out because it's snowing, and I would read my books. Do you ever have choose your own adventure series? Do you remember that?
Now choose your own adventure. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
think.
It was a young adult book,
Oh.
maybe 8 to 12 versus 13 to 16. And you would read the first 3 pages, and it says you either take the door on the left or you take the door on the right.
Oh.
And then you would have a different story depending, and each book contained 100 different stories if you chose, because you could, like a puzzle, choose a different way in. And
that'd be cool.
yeah,
I
so they
like
had
that
an
idea.
underwater one, mystery. So they had a ton of them. They were so fun. So at one point, my parents were sick of buying me books, so then they just bought me the adventure series, and they're like, "There's 150 stories in there. You can't be done with that book that quick."
Oh yes, I am. Watch me. Hey, that's the Matterhorn right there. That's Switzerland.
That's Switzerland?
Well, yes, we've been in there. My mom had a little Jack Russell. There's a lake on the other side of that called Schwartzy Lake, Lake Schwartzy.
It looks like the Aurora Borealis.
Yeah, well, actually, the peak of the Matterhorn is so tall or high in elevation that it has its own cloud cover. So there are not very many times during the day or during certain seasons that you can see the peak.
Oh, you know what book I'm reading?
What?
The Search and Rescue of the White Mountains.
Oh.
Fascinating. It's about the search and rescue. It's about the rescue more than it is about the people. And it's talking about how many people die on our White Mountains. And that it used to be back in the day, you wouldn't go into the woods. The woods were a kind of like a haunted place.
Don't go into the woods.
And you were worried about calorie count and having enough food, and so you would only you only really ventured into the woods when the Europeans came over, and it became recreation. And that's how they started going into the woods. And then the advent of living in such an overstimulated, overcrowded world, people are seeking solace in the woods again, to find themselves and to find what's out there. But they're going with like flip-flops and a water bottle in our White Mountains, especially the presidential range, has unpredictable weather, and people are getting caught all the time. So I'm reading that book. It's fascinating.
I'll have to check it out because that would be, you actually don't think about people getting lost in the White Mountains because you think about, well, for me, I grew up on the Blue Ridge Parkway in Virginia, and that's part of the Appalachian Trail. And so you just think about it. I always think about, we just have a small, we just think about our mountains being small. And they're not. But I always think about the White Mountain. I think about the Kangamangas Highway, and I think about going up towards like Cannon and like Lafayette Mountain, all that. So that's where I think about when I think about the mountains. It's much bigger than that, but I was like, what if we get lost? And
well, they say like you don't imagine it because when you're looking at it, the topography, it's just this hump of mountains, and then highways are all around it, lights all around it, cities all around it. How could you get lost? But you can get lost really quickly, and it's the weather that makes it so detrimental. Yeah, you could sleep overnight if it wasn't negative 30.
Yeah, that's true.
On the mountain.
Yeah, we hiked, I think that's Lafayette Mountain across from Cannon. I don't know what the lake is at the bottom right there. I don't know if it's like Lonesome Lake or...
Yeah, and
they have a campground right
yes.
there, and I think the basin is... I think you start at the basin or somewhere right around there to hike up that Lafayette. And it was hot, middle of summer. By the time we got up to the top, it had started raining, and it was so windy and so cold. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, we're not even that far up. Can you imagine if we were at Mount Washington? Like, man, I've never been to the top of Mount Washington. Have you?
Really? Yes.
I've never been. I wanna go.
We went on the Cog Trail, the Cog Rail Trail, which is the train that goes up.
Yep.
And then we've driven up. No, we've never driven up. I think it was the Cog. Snowmobiles.
Oh, that would be fun.
I don't know that we make it all the way to the top on the snowmobiles. Maybe I've only been on the top once. Yeah, maybe I've only been once, and I've just been around snowmobiling so much that I feel like I've been
just
on it.
and around it. Wow, that's cool. We need to do that. I would like to be on my. I don't really want to put it on my bucket list because I'm like, it's local, it's here.
Yeah,
I want to go do that.
but that's part of the problem of some of the stuff that's close is you take it for granted.
Yes, that is true.
A couple of years ago, I thought I'm going to start hiking. Apropos of nothing. I bought myself a backpack and some.
See, I did a lot of my hiking in my 20s now, like out of my system, and I'm like, blisters. But I do actually like to walk in the woods. We went down to, I know I'm going to say, it's not Panema Bog. It's in Amherst.
I don't know.
And now I drew a whole blank. But there's just there's a little camp or a little recreation center there, and there's a lot of little trails there, and you could spend a couple hours. But I always like to walk by the water.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really care about elevation anymore. Like I just want to be in the woods, have a nice walk.
Well, you know what's really funny is I don't know how to fuel myself because in my head, I'm not thinking I'm going to be doing 2,500 calories on a however many mile walk. So I've got like an orange, I've got some oat square bars or something, and
beef jerky, cheese, maybe an apple.
It's not enough calories. You need food.
Yeah, but it depends on what kind of hike you're going to do. We're doing overnight?
No, we're not doing overnight, but we're gone all day.
To bring the Dutch oven. And
one time we were supposed to do a 7-mile hike, and it was an 11-mile hike because we got lost.
Oh.
And that was the day I had an orange and oat bar, like a granola bar, an orange, and like 2 other things. And I'm like, I am starving.
Yes. Then you feel like you just want to eat like a, grizzly bear.
Well, then you're like, I can't move my legs. They're too heavy.
Yes.
I don't have enough calories to move my legs.
When we were hiking in the rain, and I had those leather EMS boots, they almost look steel toe because the leather is so thick. And I'm sure anybody knows that EMS, it was like they're all leather. They almost look like a work boot, like a factory work boot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess it was because EMS. Well, EMS used to do a tent sale every year, and they would sell all their samples, or if it had a imperfect or irregular, they would sell the stuff. We ended up, EMS is expensive. We got 20 below bags, sleeping bags, for like $15. We got a 3-man, 3-season tent.
Do you know how to put up a tent?
Yeah.
I'm so impressed.
Oh my gosh, it's so easy. They have the spring hinge poles. So you literally just pull it out, you do those, and you just flip them over. And I think the 6-man tent that we have I think it's got like 4 poles on all of it.
Really?
Yes. Super, super easy.
I imagine myself getting tangled up and trapped in it. Trying to put it up. Just being like, it's a sleeping bag now. It's supposed to be a 4-person tent.
I'm just going to roll up, and it's in my burrito.
That's how I'm going to stay warm.
Well, hiking down the mountain in those EMS boots, and it had rained it was starting to rain at the top. We turned around, and it's all downhill. My toes were just all blistered from my socks being wet and your toes hitting, and I'm like, it's not fun.
Yeah, that's what I learned from that hike that I got lost because it rained. Wasn't expecting that. There was no rain in the forecast. It rained, and then I was like, my feet, I am trashed when my feet are wet. So I always bring like 4 extra pairs of socks and I put them in plastic bags because then your backpack gets wet.
Oh, that's smart. That's smart.
And I finally got myself a satellite phone in case I do get lost.
What? You have a satellite phone?
I do.
I don't. You just keep it for hiking?
Yes. I haven't used it yet. I got it last year and then I didn't hike after that, but I have to set up the service. You have to pay for a service so that you can call someone if you're really lost in the woods. Because the cell phone doesn't work.
That's true.
A lot of places the cell phone doesn't work.
Get my bat phone.
And you know what's really interesting?
You should carry some flares tw.
I should carry flares.
Like a little flare gun.
There's a little kit I feel like I should put together. And we'll,
I just want to put a little flare gun, but I want it to say like help. Or
I bought a baby air horn. So if I broke my leg and I'm off and someone's looking for me, I can just air horn a bunch of times. Because that's the thing is if you break your leg and you can't get out.
It'll scare a bear away too.
I'm not afraid of bears. I'm not afraid of black bears at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I wouldn't say I'm not. I have a healthy respect.
I respect them, but I'm not
I
afraid
have
of
a
them.
healthy respect of them. It caught me off guard when they catch you off guard. So
Yes.
we had a chocolate lab, and Chris and I were down at Purgatory Falls, coming back on. On one of the loops, there's like an old logging road. You walk up, and that's where you park. We're coming back, and Bosco was on the leash, and all of a sudden he starts pulling and pulling. I'm like, what the heck? I look up the hill, and literally 15 feet from us, there's a big black bear that crosses in front of us. I'm not strong enough to hold a 110-pound dog if he decides that he's going to go after it. And I'm like, okay, this could create conflict. If I startle the bear, is he going to charge us? Like, yeah. So that scared me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, if I see it coming or if I just happen upon it, then yeah, it scares me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to interact with the bear, but everything that I've learned about the bears, black bears don't attack people.
Yes. I'm more scared of frogs than I am bears.
I would be afraid of a mountain lion.
Yes.
No, there's like not 1 ounce of me that wouldn't be terrified from a mountain lion.
Yes.
Because they're huge.
They are big.
They weigh like 140 pounds, and they are strong. They take down things 5 times its size.
Yes. We do have mountain. Don't we have some mountain lions?
I think
in
we
New
do
Hampshire?
have a couple.
Because I know we've had. I had just saved. We had a picture.
Well, what's the difference between a cougar and a mountain lion? Maybe we have one or the other.
I don't know.
We have to look that up.
I don't know. I know it's kind of been just a fun Friday. We just forgot our, I think the number one reason why we're going to bring it back home.
Yes,
the number one reason why we have external validation, it boosts our confidence so we can feel good about ourselves.
I'm going to interrupt one more time.
Do
Rapid fire digression. There's one species of mountain lion that's now extinct, it says. Are there any mountain lions in New Hampshire? No. There is no physical evidence of mountain lion presence in our state. What kind of big cats are in? Bobcats are the biggest ones. Okay. Was there a mountain lion killed in New Hampshire in 1885 in Vermont? Okay.
Wow.
That's a Google quick search.
Wow.
Okay, go ahead.
That's cool. No, just talking about most of the reason why we do external validation is because to feel good about ourselves. And, on the way up here, on the way over today, I was reading this book called Good Vibes, Good Life. And she has a little British English accent, so I love listening to her. But she was saying, do you know something as simple as 2 minutes a day, if you do your power poses, there's like 3 power poses that you can do. One of them is the superhero pose, where they are holding their head up high and their feet are spread apart and their hands
are on their hips
and their shoulders are back. So 2 minutes a day, it reduces, standing and also learning, like breathing is so
Well, that's where I think about the yoga. So there was a time, I'm trying to think of what year it was. Might have been 2007, 2008. If you had any problem, I responded to you with a yoga pose that corresponded with it. So if you said you were fighting with your boyfriend or you were doing whatever, I would have legs up the wall pose and something stops your nervous system from getting overactive. I was annoyingly yoga oriented.
Yes.
Because
that's how I feel like I am with the spiritual energy, the metaphysical world.
Yes.
No, doing 2 minutes a day, doing one of those poses, studies show that it actually increases your testosterone, your confidence hormone, by 20%. It also reduces your stress hormone by 25%.
Wow.
Just by standing. And so she was talking about there's a lot of people that don't believe in fake it till you make it.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, but if you fake a smile and you don't feel like smiling, the more that you fake a smile, you can actually trick your brain into being happy. Just little things. I mean, it takes work and practice. But she was like, if you go out and you are doing your power pose, so you do your power pose or you are faking being more confident than you truly are. If you do it long enough, then it just becomes second nature. And then next thing you know, you're confident.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't spend enough time encouraging people because I think we have everything that we need inside of us already. We need that, and we spend so much time
Seeking it from outside.
yes, seeking it from outside, but I think we're also taught, we don't give enough. We're not given the tools to, like, hey, how do we make ourselves happy? Like, even as kids. I mean, when you're babies, we teach them how to pacify themselves, to comfort themselves, to put them back to sleep, so we're not rocking the babies to sleep, or you're always giving them. But it's kind of like we just stop. We don't teach people how to find happiness from within, or find the strength, the motivation internally.
When I think back on when I was younger, I was 100% intrinsically motivated, and it didn't matter what you did. If you said to me, "You're never going to do that," I'm like, whatever. Like, I wouldn't feel the need to defend myself against what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't feel the need to prove myself to you. I was like, doesn't matter what you say, I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then something happened where it flipped, and then people's opinions mattered.
Do
And
you
now
feel like
I'm
you
over that.
had- Do you feel like there was a life event? I wouldn't say traumatic, but did you feel like there was something that,
Yes. Yeah.
like, giving it all, going all in on something, and it just flopped, or
Yeah. Yes. When it determined that I wasn't going to be an air traffic controller, I was lost in a way that was like, I only had that vision for my life. I have no vision.
Yeah.
So that little time period until I found real estate, it probably was a 2-year period. That was probably it. When all of a sudden, because I had no answer within. What do you want to do? I don't know. There's nothing I want to do. If I'm not going to do that thing,
Yeah.
which I now can't do, because I'm now past the age.
But the thing is, why do we feel like we're a failure? Like, when we do something and we're not successful at it, why do we say, oh, I'm not good enough?
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking about Monet. What was part of Monet's, what was going on that his paintings weren't good enough?
Well, I know. So for me, when I do when
Does
I
that
do
make a strive?
photography,
Yeah.
especially if I'm doing it for somebody else, because I'm not living it. If I'm doing the boudoir and I'm taking my own pictures, then I'm much more happy with the turnout. I know what, but I am so insecure just because I haven't done it. I haven't done it enough to feel confident that I'm giving. And my heart is, I want these people to be blown away by the picture that I produced, because I want them to feel good. I want to give them a gift. So much so that it's not going to hurt. It doesn't hurt my feelings if they say, well, I don't really like that one. I don't feel the rejection there. It's actually getting to the point where I'm going to send it to them. Like, oh, I'm comparing myself. I'm being my own worst judge, and I'm being my own worst enemy, instead of just letting it be what it's going to be, and training ourselves to be no. And so there's a lot of times, Chris had gotten me a paint
And maybe
set.
it's the outcome. Maybe it's being attached to the outcome.
Well, I am a perfectionist. Like, I like things just so. And like with Monet, I can relate on some level. Not
I
that
can
I'm
too.
the great artist, but
Right.
from photography for me, and then Chris had gotten me a paint set last Christmas, and he had gotten acrylics, oils, and watercolors. And I'm like, you know what? I am a color in the lines kind of person. Like, I like precision and detail. I love detail. I love precision. So I'm like, I'm going to start with an abstract, because I don't want to get stress myself out if it's not going to be perfect. So if it's just loose, and I sat there and I'm like, all right, now what do I paint? So then I had to go and look online and be like, okay, what's an abstract painting that I feel like I could replicate and not copy, and just be free? I was like, I'm aware in that moment that I'm a prisoner in my own mind
Mm-hmm.
because I have a blank canvas. It's a couple of dollars. Like I've got 15 more, so it's not about wasting it.
Mm-hmm.
But yet I'm still stuck because I don't know how to be in the abstract. Like I'm like, all of a sudden now I don't know what to paint. And then I look at an abstract floral painting that I'm like, oh, that's cool. I could do that. So I get the picture in my head. I study it. I'm like, all right, I mix all my colors up, and then I'm still blank in front of me because I'm still wanting to go back and like, oh my God, all right, where did they start? How did they do that? Instead of just trusting myself just to be in flow.
Mm-hmm.
Chris is like, well, have a glass of wine. I think I might need a margarita. A little stronger than a Riesling.
Right, but isn't that why Hemingway was an alcoholic?
Probably,
Sitting in front of a
yes.
blank page. Get all the
pressure. But we put that pressure on ourselves to perform. And like,
and I think doing everything in front of an audience.
I
So
think you said it right, though. I'm too attached to the outcome.
Well, that's when I notice I get really tense. If I'm wanting the outcome to only be one thing, the chance of me hitting the mark is,
Right.
But
But how many times are we all attached to the outcome, even when we don't know that we're outcome, that it actually stops us from doing the thing that we want to try or want to explore?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like,
Well, are we ever looking at stuff as an exploration, or are we looking for an outcome? Is everything looking for an outcome?
Right.
Or is it like, so his painting was an exploration?
and he's like, I'm going to get this right. I'm going to do it until I get it right. And there's been times we've been on a hike and I'm like, the way I see it, my frustration comes when I can't recreate, I can't take the photo the way I see it in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what gets me stuck.
Yes.
But I'm like, see, to me, even right now, like, I don't know how not to be attached to the outcome because I still see it in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could relate to him being like, okay, well, I'm going to try it this way. We ain't going to be trying it this way. This is why we paint 5,000 water lilies.
Right. That's why they have, and that's what I think. That's why they paint the picture over and over and over and over again, because they're still trying to find that thing in their mind.
Yeah.
And I think about striving. How many minutes do we have left? We have 2 minutes. I think about striving is a perfectionist's procrastination tool.
Ooh, say that again?
That striving is a perfectionist's procrastination tool. Because I know when I'm being perfect, I'm like, no, you're not. You're procrastinating.
That's true.
You're not being perfect. You're procrastinating. You're thinking you want this perfect outcome, and you don't believe that you can create a perfect outcome, so now you're procrastinating. That's what I think about myself.
Yeah.
I started a painting, and it sat with one color because I was going to do it color by color by color, each layer, and it's been 3-4 weeks, and it's just the
I
one
didn't
picture.
see that about you. Like when we went to that painting class, you're like, your hand, even your wrist is just, hey, I'm going to do
Maybe
this.
because I
I'm
had
gonna do
started,
this,
and then I was then I turned into flow, where I was giving myself I was having fun with you. I was having fun with Kayla.
Yes, you just you give yourself permission, and maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's the takeaway as we're going to wrap up. Like, hey, how about we all give ourselves this week permission to fail?
Yes, purpose.
It's something. Yes, something that we're striving for. Don't hold ourselves so rigidly.
And another thing that I want to leave everybody with is the voice that you hear in your head. Is it your voice?
Most definitely not.
Be careful not to hear everyone else's voice over your own. And I'm cautioning everyone to listen to too much noise.
That's good.
Until next Thursday, you're listening to Lisa and Robyn on the mic on 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. And you can watch, stream, and listen and follow us on YouTube if you want to see any past episodes. And we are live on Facebook every week. We will see you next week. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
WSMN 1590, WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Listen, watch, and stream at WSMN.live.
USA News Update. The University of Missouri student who went missing in Nashville has been discovered in a Nashville river. Authorities confirmed Friday morning that the body found in the Cumberland River is indeed Riley Strains. The 22-year-old had last been seen on March 8th when he was escorted out of Luke Bryan's downtown Nashville bar. Police noted no signs of foul play or trauma on the body. A Gaza ceasefire resolution that was backed by the U.S. has been rejected following a vote at the UN Security Council Friday. Both Russia and China opposed the resolution, which cautioned against an Israeli military operation in Rafah and strongly denounced restrictions hindering aid access to the Gaza Strip. Kate, the Princess of Wales, revealed in a